Hello everyone, my name is Leo and with this video we'll share the guitar gear news of the last month and there is a lot to talk about. Let's start! First of all, a lot of new devices which are somehow incorporating NAM profiles have been launched. For instance, the Anagram, which is the most powerful of the bunch, being able to load 3 NAM profiles natively, I mean without any conversion. Then we have the Sonic 8 Pocket Master, which is I think the less expensive device able to load NAM profiles, even if converting them to a less DSP intensive internal format. Then both Valeton and Ampero have adopted NAM, still using an internal proprietary format. And here we also have the new Valeton GP5, which is another super interesting device able to load NAM profiles. So really the NAM community has grown a lot in the last weeks and you can find many tests of these devices in my channel. Now, the one thing that maybe is under-evaluated is that adopting NAM does not just mean adopting a profiling procedure which has great performances, but also, how to say, being part of a pretty large community of guitarists that actually create and share profiles for free. This is a great value in itself. I think that Gianfranco and Marcos from Dark Glass and Mod, in my interview with them about the Anagram, nailed this concept pretty well. Especially when they say that they adopted NAM for the Anagram, not only for the great quality of the NAM profiles, but also to allow us users to take benefit of the NAM community, which is expanding, as I said. This brings a pretty big value to the table. Why I'm highlighting these factors? Well, because of course we'll now talk a bit about the new Helix Stadium, and I would start from its profiling procedure capabilities. This is what the Helix manager said about that. Early next year, we are introducing our own bespoke amp cab effect and signal chain cloning engine. We call it Proxy. We fully understand that open source solutions are doing amazing things in this space, and jury is still out on whether Helix Stadium goes there or not. But we wanted to do something unique and interesting. So Proxy is unique in that its core architecture and capabilities are designed to expand beyond amp and effect capture. Maybe things that aren't even audio. It also sends training data wirelessly to the cloud, no computer necessary, which means you can train better modules due to the power of cloud server processing. So here I fully understand the Line 6 needs to explore and create something new in this space, maybe also improving the NAM performances, but I don't understand why they are not adopting NAM since the beginning. If Line 6 wants to keep these machines alive for the next 10 years, they should have plenty of power, and therefore I don't think they are not capable of running many NAM blocks natively. So why not allowing us users to use NAM and to be part of that great community? I don't have an answer, honestly, as I see only benefits in adopting NAM, and I don't understand why Line 6 should not give us this opportunity, still in parallel developing their own cloning methodology. If you know, please drop a comment in the comment section below. Nonetheless, the features of the new Line 6 profiling tech seems quite appealing, with cloud computing services, where we would need to know if it is gonna be free or a paid services, etc. It seems that it will also be able to profile effects, and here I have a pretty big question mark. As we know, currently we can't clone a delay or a reverb with something like NAM, therefore I'm curious to know what they mean with effect cloning. And lastly, I would mention they are also capturing things not related to audio. Big question mark here too. For instance, could it clone signal chains or effect settings? No idea what they mean. So, as regards profiling, things are not clear yet, and I hope that NAM will be supported. Of course, profiling and cloning were not the only new features for the Helix Stadium, and let me recap the other interesting improvements. First of all, we have an entirely new modeling algorithm called Agora. Agora has an all-new tube emulation that measures detailed parameters of tubes, including voltage, currents and capacitance. A new way of modeling power stages in conjunction with the power supply to capture dynamic interaction. This should mean more realistic transient response. Then we have detailed plate and grid voltage data, all new sag and bias behavior emulation, and double precision tone stacks. Furthermore, we'll have inter-block communication, allowing cap blocks to talk back to the amp block for dynamic speaker impedance curves, even with effects in between. So these are all good news, especially as I think that the interaction between the various components of an amp and the speaker are very important to mimic properly the final sound. And this seems this direction Line 6 want to go, which is appreciated. I have not heard anything about a mic preamp simulation, which is I think a kind of a bummer, as in my opinion the mic pre plays an important role, especially in defining the tone we hear in the CD and albums we love. Then we have new I/O and form factor. While Stadium and Stadium XL are similar, the XL adds one extra instrument input, two extra effect loops, and one extra dual control jack. Both have mic preamps, SPDIF, USB-C and USB-A ports, a removable 32GB micro SD card, and an internal power supply. The signal chain will now allow us to load 4 stereo paths with 12 blocks each, with multiple split and merges, which is nice. Another interesting new feature is the automation engine. This is designed to control our entire stage automatically, acting like our personal guitar tech or bass tech. Basically, the Stadium automatically changes scenes, effects, etc. while the song is going, which is a very handy feature. All in all, I think everything is great in these new units. The only cons are, in my opinion, the still missing profiling procedure and the uncertainty around the adoption of NAMM, and the availability of the Line 6 cloning tech, which is supposed to arrive next year. I mean, a pretty long waiting time, while basically NAMM availability in all the other devices is growing and growing. The prices are not low, you can see them in the screen, together with the availability. Now, let's jump to the next news, because also Kemper has announced its new lineup of modelers, the Kemper MK II. The headlines here are the following. We have an upgraded processing engine which is more powerful, also reducing the boot time at around 20 seconds. That is, by the way, still a pretty long time to wait. We have a new expanded FX architecture which allows us to get up to 20 simultaneous audio effect blocks, also thanks to the 7 new FX slots. Then we have a new enhanced profiling procedure with now 100,000 frequency points. I mean, the new profiling engine analyzes more than 100,000 individual frequency points when capturing an amp. This approach should guarantee more details and nuances compared to the previous version, even if the previous frequency points are not mentioned, so it's hard for me to understand how much better this new profiling tech is gonna be. By the way, if it is such a great improvement, why Kemper is not mentioning the frequency points of the previous generation? This is quite strange in my opinion. If you know, please drop a message in the comment section. Furthermore, we have longest and more complex impulse responses. This means it can authentically capture the resonance and dynamic characteristics of our specific speaker and cabinet setup. Of course, we still have the liquid profiling technology, meaning that the Kemper integrates the original amp's gain and tone controls, so we can adjust these parameters with the profile itself, just like on real amps. I'm a bit uncertain about the refining steps and how they will work. This is, in my opinion, a major weakness point of the Kemper profiling procedure, as it is demanded to us users to do it, where Kemper should provide us with automatically played sounds that tune the profiles. For instance, with NAMM, we have a dedicated series of sound emitted by the profiling procedure, and those sounds require a lot of study and development by Steve Atkinson. Also in Tonix, there is not a refining process demanded to the user, but Tonix has its own sounds emitted by the procedure. You know, the refining procedure is like you buy a new car, a new Audi, and then Audi asks you to set up yourself the pressure of the tires, the carburetor, etc. As I said, Kemper knows its own profiling procedure, and therefore Kemper should provide us with the proper refining methods. At least this is my opinion. Okay, that's all for this video. I think 2025 will be a very interesting year with a lot of new modelers and profilers, which is very exciting. So stay tuned, subscribe and hit the bell, as all these devices will be here in my studio. And by the way, the Kemper MK II is under my fingers. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Bye bye.